Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of College Football UK. As ever, I am your host, Fletch. This podcast is brought to you by the Asleep at Work Network. And joining me to talk about a wild week three of college football action is just the one co-host today, but let's face it, it's everybody's favourite. It's the one that brings in the viewers. It's
It's
Gary.
the one
How are
and
you, Gary?
only. It's the only one you really need. How you doing, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. What a week. What a week it's been.
It has been. It's been a fantastic weekend of college football.
Hmm.
Um, However, it's been more fantastic for some than it has been for others.
I think
Two,
that's safe to say. Yes, I think
yeah,
it's safe to say that some teams and some colleges and some organizations have had better weeks than others.
yes, but I would also even say that there's a couple of individuals who will also be finding themselves as having not had the greatest of weekends. So we have our first two firings of the no Nick's news today. So we've got Gary's
He's
Gazette
not
and
here,
Fletcher's Forum.
which
Um,
we're just throwing straight in because really the big news
yeah,
is two coaches have gone already.
yeah. So Deshaun Foster at UCLA and
Had to go.
Brent Pry at Virginia Tech have both been relieved of
Even
their
more had to go.
duties
Yeah.
this
I
week.
mean,
Neither a shock.
none of them are a shock. Neither of those are a shock. Virginia Tech have been shockingly bad. Shockingly bad. Virginia Tech remind me of the ones who just got absolutely hosed by Old Dominion, right?
Yes.
I mean, at home, that should not, cannot happen, and hence there's the door. Here's your $6 million paycheck. Thanks very much for being so rubbish. So
Yeah.
he might have had a bad week, but his bank balance is loving it. And likewise at UCLA, it was always a weird hire in the first place. I think it was a last minute panic on the cheap hire for UCLA to get Foster in there. Obviously, they got a little bit blindsided by Chip Kelly kind of going, yeah, I'm your coach. I'm going to do the recruiting. I'm going to be here. Oh, look, Ohio State want me to go and be their coordinator. I'm off. See ya.
Yeah.
So I feel a little bit for UCLA. I also feel a little bit for UCLA because they went out and got Nico Iamaleava and all of his issues and whatever else, and he's not been that good. But then the O line there hasn't been good, and the coaching's not very good. So it's a bad situation in UCLA. So, but but they've just been bad as well. Across the board, their
Yeah.
results are shockingly bad. You should not be 0-3. You should not be losing to the teams they've lost against and how they've lost. So not a surprise that they've been sacked. It's just a surprise it's this early. And I guess it's a surprise that these teams are as bad as they were. And that's kind of that cumulative effect of it's fine. First game, maybe a bit rust. Second game, well, hang on a minute. You cannot. And then, nail in the coffin some of those bad losses for both of those teams. But Old Dominion at Virginia Tech was just like, oh, that can't happen. The team quit, basically. The team gave up. There was no way that team was there to play for that coach.
Yeah. Deshaun Foster will leave with a 5-10 record with all five wins coming in last year's 5-7 campaign. He was hired as the head coach last year, as you said, after Chip Kelly just ran away and went to Ohio State. Um, won a natty with them and then went off to the NFL. So,
Mm.
um, I don't think Chip Kelly's particularly upset about this scenario or feels bad at all about the way this has panned out. Um,
Maybe
but
he's sitting there going, "That's why I left."
yeah, just a little bit. So,
Because there's other bigger issues with UCLA. They don't they don't have the support. They don't bring in the money. They do not. You know, it's in LA. We know LA is a very sport-rich town, and none of the teams in LA do well in terms of support, pulling in the people. There's just too much going on, I think. So I think they
yeah,
struggle with that one. Okay, they're in Pasadena, blah blah blah, but whatever. Um, so I think it's a struggle for them. But yeah, I think Chip Kelly's there might be further bigger issues higher up with all who's in charge and whatever else that's going on there.
yeah. I mean, I remember last year under them, they were never competitive. They were never particularly a side you were ever worried about. And when we kind of ended last season, when we were looking at them, it was just a bit. They've got a lot to do to get to where they want to be.
Yeah.
The Big Ten just seems like the they've come over as like USC's buddy, just kind of clung on to their
Just
ankles as
come on,
USC
can we
ran
come
it.
in your on your coattails, or just
Um,
come over and keep the rivalry, even though it's not much of a rivalry at all? Yeah.
so it'd be interesting to see what the move is going on from here. I do believe they haven't told anyone who's going to be at least the interim head coach for the time being, so we don't know
Who's
that
even going to
one.
play for them? Because you see, everyone's going to be out of there, right? They're all going to be hitting the one and only portal now.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
It's
definitely, definitely.
yeah,
And then up on the other side of it, Brent Pry. Little bit on Brent Pry. Let me just get it up. He coached 40 games, leaves with a 16-24 record. They had a 3-8 start under him in 2022. Then they got a couple of bowl eligible seasons. They went 7-6 in 23, won the Military Bowl, went 6-7 in 2024, lost the Duke's Mayo Bowl, and they've started this year 0-3. And to replace him, sorry, where did it go?
have
Yeah.
they haven't replaced him, have they?
Well, to replace him for the rest of the season is interim head coach Philip Montgomery, who was their offensive coordinator, uh, starting this season. Prior to that, he was the Birmingham Stallions co-offensive coordinator in the UFL, and he was at Auburn's OC slash QB's coach in 2023. So he's bounced around a little bit,
Bounced
but
around a bit, but
as is the nature of the beast.
mm,
Do you reckon, I think the number one question here regarding Brent Pry is, do you think all Metallica songs have been taken out of his playlist for the time being?
yes, absolutely. He does not want to listen to another Metallica song. Um, Granted, he only had two home games this season. Got absolutely hosed by Vanderbilt last week,
Yep.
and then Old Dominion rolled in and literally, they were 40 odd up at half time or something, weren't they, or something absolutely ludicrous. It was
Yeah.
just terrible. So yeah, he's probably definitely skipping any Metallica songs that come on there, which is a real shame because it's the best. And we've said this before. We've said this on this pod, and we'll continue to say it. It is
Yep.
the best entrance in college football. If you have a Saturday night game, Virginia Tech, it's awe-inspiring. And if that wasn't enough for those players, then there's something wrong in the state of, I want to say Texas, but obviously Virginia. It's bad, obviously, really bad there. So he had to go. There is absolutely no doubt about it. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's a real shame, and it just means that we won't get to see that entrance probably on TV at all this season because no one's going to then want Virginia Tech on their screens because they're bad.
Yeah. Um, yeah, as you said, so look, we don't want to uh relish in anyone's firing, however bad they
Five
were.
and a half million, 6 million they get paid off. It's not the end of the world for either of these
Um,
guys.
I know, but we never want to relish in it, but we do have to ask the question of which head coach is next and why is it Billy Napier?
It's the only name on everybody's lips. Florida have been bad. Last week's game, DJ Lagway looked high school esque against LSU. 5 interceptions, just looked bad. Just looked really bad. Florida have a very tough schedule. We've said that from the very outset, and we thought Billy was always on the kind of cusp of being on the hot seat at the beginning of the season, but they've just been bad. They've been bad against LSU. They were bad against USF. That's a shocking loss. And their games just keep getting easier from this point on, don't they? Yeah, he may not be there after they lose yet again to another Florida interstate rival, should we say, this weekend.
Yeah. Um, I've tried to use, not to be lazy, but I've tried to use AI to help me out with this job, and it's been terrible. Um, so let me just find what I was actually looking for. Okay, not too many betting sites are actually doing this. So there are the odds for the next head coach in college football to get fired, depending on where you look, but there are only a couple of bookies offering
Problem is,
next.
I got a feeling my Sam Houston head coach is probably up there somewhere. Um,
So, but according to bookies.com, I believe they compiled a few. Mike Gundy is the favorite to get fired next, which is an entirely fair. Um,
mhm.
because they have been terrible, terrible, terrible this year. They had Ollie Gordon last year, and everyone thought he was going to be what Ashton Genty turned out to be.
Yep.
Were terrible last year. I mean, look, the result they had against Oregon last week was just you don't get beaten like that if you're Oklahoma State. You can
Nope.
get beat, that's fine, by a couple of scores, probably okay, but to get just obliterated like that.
Hmm.
So that makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
Billy Napier comes in next. So Mike Gundy is plus 250. Billy Napier is plus 300. If anyone wants to do the American maths or math, because it's the American
Math,
version.
because American.
Um,
Yeah.
Tony Elliott at Virginia is also up there at plus 700. Hugh Freeze at Auburn, which I think is ridiculous. How is that one a thing? Um, because Auburn are ranked and doing a lot better than anyone expects Auburn to do.
And will be probably beating Oklahoma this week.
And then finally, to roll out the top five, you've got Luke Fickle of Wisconsin. Um,
Hmm. Do we think, and this is a weird one, and it's a shame that Nick's not here. Do we think there's a risk in South Bend if they don't turn it around? Because they're
um,
0-2. Somehow they're still ranked, which is what the bloody hell is going on, people. Um, but we'll get onto that at some point. Is 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 his seat warming up in Notre Dame? I think it might be. I just it'd be interesting. And obviously, all I mean, I think Oregon, Oregon State. I mean, they are a state, but they've got nothing to play for until their season and their conference actually gets back to being a conference. Yeah, I just think Notre Dame might have, you know, a case to be worried about if they don't, improve quickly. And then, as I say, my Sam Houston call for their winning their conference,
yeah,
and it started so well for them, and 0-3 rumblings already started. It's not good. Oh.
yeah. Okay, so. Okay, we're not going to don't want to dwell too much on coaches getting fired. Don't want to dwell too much on people losing the jobs. Um, so I
Get
think,
out of town, Billy Napier. Sorry,
yeah, just
just go now.
Billy Napier can do one. Um, but other than that, we'll just get on to week three action. There have been so many very, very, very good games, and I think Gary, I think
Mm-hmm.
the best place to start is the best game of the week.
Oof,
Comfortably the best game of the week. The
comfortably
most
the best game of the
exciting.
week.
And Mrs. Fletch is going to be so happy that this is the game that I choose as the game of the week, even though they lost.
Hmm.
Georgia, Tennessee. What a
Wow,
game.
just
44-41. Georgia walk out a
end
winner.
to end, back and forth. Tennessee get off to an absolute flyer. Georgia look shell shocked, and then just back and forth, back and forth. Double overtime, wasn't it? Double overtime, or
Yeah,
just I know it was two overtimes, wasn't it? Where neither team could move the ball or do anything. Just insane. Just an absolutely insane advert for college football. It's what college football is all about, really. It just you cannot take your eyes off of it, and it's unusual when a big game lives up to the expectations because often these big games are built up to be like, oh, it's going to be a barnstorming shootout, blah blah, and they end up being 13-10 squibs. This was everything that we wanted it to be, but for these two teams.
yeah. So to kind of Tennessee started out and looked like they were gonna just run with it. Uh, end of the first quarter, it's 21-7 to Tennessee. Everyone knew it would be a good game. I think everyone counted Tennessee out though of the actual chances of winning the game, just that it might
Yeah.
be a good game.
I think they'd
So
keep it close, but everyone thought they'd lose by 6 or 7.
yeah, never thought they'd really be in with a chance. They'd always just be kind of trying to catch up with Georgia. But no, it turned out to be the other way. Like I say, 21-7. They get a touchdown to start. Georgia responds with a touchdown. They respond with a two-play 75 for 75 yards touchdown. Georgia turn it over and downs. Tennessee get a touchdown, and you're thinking, bloody hell, like Mrs. Fletcher's looking and going, bloody hell, like, they might have this, and Georgia looked vulnerable, and Tennessee were stomping where they needed to.
Mm.
Cut to the second half. Georgia managed to claim 10 more points back, 21-17 at the half. And then,
Second half was just ding dong then from then on, wasn't it?
yeah, literally, it went touchdown Georgia, punt Tennessee, punt Georgia, interception Tennessee, field goal Georgia, touchdown Tennessee. It's 28-27 to Tennessee at that point because Georgia had got a touchdown and a field goal within that. Fourth quarter, you think so, there's a point in it. Surely someone's going to take the ball by the horns. Field goal Georgia up by 2. Touchdown Tennessee up by 5. Fumble by Georgia. Maybe Tennessee have got it now. Field goal for Tennessee. They're up 8 points. They've got it. And then
Should have
touchdown
seen it out.
Georgia.
Should have seen it out.
Touchdown Georgia completed with a 2 point conversion, sorry, to bring it level, and then to end the game, a missed 43-yard field goal.
Yeah.
It had everything.
And then a little bit more. Exactly. You had everything and a little bit more this game. As you say, Tennessee out of the blocks flying. Everyone like, oh, maybe Tennessee are it. Maybe we've underestimated them. The back and forth, the ding dong, the double overtime, fumbles, punts, interceptions, and then to lose, win / whatever way you look at it on a missed field goal. Heartbreaking for Tennessee. Great win for Georgia. It's a ranked team. It's going to look good. They're 3-0. It's an interconference win. I don't think the fact it was so close will count against either team in terms of the ranking. I don't think it should, because that's like one of those hell of a game, boys. You both did pretty well. I don't see Tennessee. Tennessee shouldn't probably drop. They might drop a couple of places, but only because other teams jump them from being,
Yeah.
slightly better in their record. But I don't think this should count against. And I know we've lambasted the strength of schedule and lost. Good losses are better than wins sometimes. This is one of those, unfortunately. This is one of those. You've just lost to the 6th/5th ranked Georgia by a last minute, a last second missed field goal off double overtime. If you could have got a tie, you probably would have said, yeah, both teams deserve a tie here. So, yeah, from that point of view, I think it shouldn't count too much against Tennessee. But hell of a game. Hell of a game.
Yeah. I mean, both teams pretty much. I need to get the team stats up because I'm looking at the box score here and they're pretty much even.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so little to separate the teams. I mean, overall yards, like yards from scrimmage.
Didn't
Tennessee
both teams
400
get like 400 or something? It was like almost 1,000 yards total.
Tennessee 496, Georgia 502. So you're talking 998 yards of offense in a game.
Almost 1,000 yards of offense.
Yards off 1,000. Georgia passing, they go 23 of 38. Tennessee go 24 of 36. Both of them pretty much spot on 3/4. Average yard, like Georgia were just slightly better, and I think some of those averages. Much better with time of possession, but overall it was just so equal. And unfortunately, just due to the way that my setup works, I had a game on this TV that's right in front of me. I have a couple of games on DAZN on my laptop, and then TV over there normally has a game on via a method of watching games, the play-by-play that becomes
Yeah,
visual.
the stats scene one, whatever we call it.
But obviously that TV then instead had DAZN on with Tennessee Georgia because it was available on DAZN, by the way. How lucky are we to get that for free over here?
I know.
So Mrs. Fletch could have it. So unfortunately, it's just one of those games where I'm
You
fuming that it
just
was
can't.
just slightly out of my peripheral.
You just missed it. Yeah.
Um, Kind of relying on Mrs. Fletch to keep turning around to me and going, "Watch this, watch this, watch this." She was falling asleep throughout the second half, and every time she woke up, someone else was in the lead.
Typical volunteer fan there.
Um, every time she woke, just someone
She's
else
gonna
was.
get me for that. She's gonna get me
Yeah.
for that. Yeah. Yeah, there was.
So
I think you're right. The problem with, or the good thing about that game, or the bad thing about Saturday's games, where there are a lot of places for your eyes to go. This
yeah,
one, you look at this one, you think, wow, how come everybody wasn't transfixed by that one? Probably because Texas A&M and Notre Dame were also going hammer and tongs at it.
yeah,
And, for us, Notre Dame are going to keep an eye on that. What the Texas A&M pulling off an upset? I guess
yeah,
41-40, another close game. I mean, just crazy. Didn't see it. Honestly, I didn't see it. I thought Notre Dame at home, they'll be fine. They'll right the ship and they'll be off and running. They were off and running. They just unfortunately couldn't stop Texas A&M doing the same thing.
yeah. And I bloody hate ESPN sometimes. The way they list the play-by-plays is weird.
Shockingly bad. Shockingly bad. Yeah.
Shockingly bad, yeah. Somehow it gives me punt, 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 but it's 7-0 to Notre Dame. How that works. Um,
Didn't they do a punt return touchdown?
I'm gonna say that's gotta be the case. Texas A&M. Yes, they did.
Mm.
Oh, it was a blocked punt,
Return for
recovered and returned for a touchdown. Yeah. Okay, that actually makes a little bit of sense. Well, it makes a lot of sense now. I actually look at it, but it just says punt 7-0 Notre Dame. And how does that work?
wow.
Um,
Mm.
so yeah, there are a couple of punts to start the game, including one that's returned for a touchdown. Then Texas A&M go 2 plays for 90 yards in 47 seconds. Um, to bring the game, and it was just again here looking at this, I didn't get a chance to watch this game. Uh, as it was happening, but watching some
This
of the
one was on
highlights,
Sky. This one was on Sky when we were probably both on the zone because I was out and about. So I had a tablet and I was literally going, right, that game, this
yeah.
game, that game, this game. Much like you say,
Well,
too much to catch on, but yeah.
this one kicked off at I think it was midnight.
Oh, yeah.
So but literally it was back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and it was always going to come down to one team was
Who
going to
had the
make a
ball? Who had
mistake.
the ball at the end almost, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was gonna one team's gonna make a mistake, or one team's gonna make a 2-point conversion, or one team's gonna miss a point after it. It was gonna come down to something like that the
Mm-hmm.
whole way through, and it did. It ended up coming down to a failed 2-point conversion.
Well, 2-point conversion. That will do it for you every time. And you lose by a point, that's going to hurt even more.
And so again, like I said, I didn't watch the game. I can't comment too much on how the game was played. I was hoping that Nick would be here to talk about the way the game was played because there's only so much you can get from highlights.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but even when looking at the box score, neither team particularly again seemed to dominate more. Uh, Texas A&M seemed a bit better in the air.
Mm-hmm.
Notre
Which
Dame
is
seemed
Texas
a
ain't
tiny bit
not
better.
really a big surprise, right? Texas A&M
No,
throw it around, Notre Dame run it better. It's kind of
no.
what we expect from that game, but
But
didn't expect it to happen that way. Wow.
with a huge shout out to Le'Veon Moss, who went 20 carries for 81 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground. Um,
Bruiser at the beginning and just kind of rumbling in from 2 yards probably. Yeah,
and
mad games.
just as much of a shout out to Mario Craver as well, who had 7 receptions, 207 yards, and a touchdown. Obviously, one of those being part of that 2-play
Two
90
two
yard
play 90
drive.
odd yards. Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
but just
That's some big numbers, isn't it?
huge numbers. And again, you just didn't seem to have. Again, I'm looking here at the box score for Notre Dame. Again, you have to watch it to truly get an understanding of it, but no one's jumping out like, whoa, those are some great stats.
Mm.
Um, whoa, this person was dominant. Or Eli Raridon, 4 receptions, 85 yards. That's a lot. That's a lot on average, including a
Mhm.
43-yard play. Jeremiah Love got a reception in the air and on the ground, which is always cool. Yeah,
If you've got him in your Fantrax team, that is.
and when I
Yeah,
guess
I mean, that's a
someone
good
does,
game. There were other bigger noises that weekend. I just mentioned that Texas A&M beating Notre Dame as an upset. Probably not as big, or I don't know, depending on your thought. Vanderbilt, Southern
oh yes,
Carolina. Did not see that one coming. Did not see Vandy doing Vandy stuff.
and it wasn't close.
It wasn't even close. It was only close in the first quarter. 7
Yes,
all first quarter, and then Vandy just went, see ya. 24 unanswered points, beating South Carolina Gamecocks at home. Go
it,
Vandy. The stories that came out subsequently of potentially some
there's some bartering going on.
some off-field bartering of
Pimping one's mother out,
pimping
I think
one's
was,
mother is
yeah.
the only way. I'm trying to work out a way of saying it, but yeah, basically the QB of Andy basically said to a podcaster, I believe, if we
Theo
beat
Von, yeah.
South Carolina, you can take my mother out to dinner.
Yeah.
And then they turned up and rolled South Carolina 31-7. I'm not sure how Mrs. Pavia feels about this. I don't believe that's been found out as of yet.
Yeah. I don't think anyone has actually bothered to ask whether
Ask her
Diego Pavia's
whether or
mum
not
wants to. Um,
whether she was privy to this prior to it being plastered all over national media.
um, all I've seen is that she's been a great sport about it.
mm.
So, but whether she's kind of played along and thought, I don't know, I'll play along. I, I don't think as much as I don't know Theo Von too well. He always seems it was got an interesting sense of humor, but he doesn't seem like an actual dick.
Yeah.
Um, so if Mrs. Pavia was uncomfortable, nothing. I don't feel like anything else would have gone forward. Um, but if it even at worst case scenario for Mrs. Pavia, if it or Miss Pavia, even clearly not Mrs.
Mm.
If it brings a bit more light to her son, creates a bit of a funny storyline, gets a bit of a buzz, which turns into NIL money, by the way, all those kinds of things.
Yeah, there's a restaurant that Theodon takes mum to ends up, giving son plenty of, free food or whatever, then, who's to say it's a bad thing? I'm,
So
I'm assuming it won't become a thing, please, for the rest of the college football fraternity. Please don't start pimping out your mother's sisters or whatever else to make sure that you win a big game. That's not what we're suggesting here, because that could lead to all sorts of horrid situations. But fair play to, as you say, Miss Pavia for playing along. Yeah, it sounds like a bit of a laugh and all done in the same sort of jest and taken as it's supposed to be as a bit of a joke.
I don't know if there's a thing for podcasters. I'm sure we could set Nick up on a date with, and then we get inside information on college football. So I don't know. We can
Ah,
make it happen.
make it
Um,
happen.
Obviously, a number of large Big Ten and SEC quarterbacks listen to this podcast. So if any of you want to send your mums to us for sitting up
Yeah,
on a date
Haynes
with Nick,
King, for example, he's a fan of the show, isn't he?
yeah. No, the speaking of Haynes King though, we'll finish
Mhm.
up on this, but I want to move on to Haynes King
You
because
see where I was going, almost professionally leading you into the next
yeah,
game.
um, but yeah, it was not a close game. They had the
No,
first couple, but Vanderbilt were dominant, just dominant. Lenora Sellers sadly had to go out of the game early.
that was a big loss, I think, for the
Massive,
Gamecocks. Yeah, because
massive
backup
loss for them.
QB, as we know, backup QBs in the NFL aren't often as a step down. It's more so in college because the QBs in college are getting all the reps. The main starters getting all the stuff. You're designing around your starting QB and the physical traits that they have. Because in college, to be honest, being a better athlete tends to be enough for you to be better than the other team, especially at the
Yeah.
QB and especially at some of the skill positions. If you're just a better athlete than the other guy, 8 times out of 10, you're going to win. Um,
Yeah.
so losing your starting QB, especially Sellers, who is a dual threat running option kind of QB, it will impact on South Carolina, but it still shouldn't have meant that they just
The,
literally rolled over and went, oh,
I know
waved the white flag.
field position matters a lot in these kind of games as well, but your defense should not be collapsing to 24 unanswered points. Your
No,
offense should
at
get you some
home.
way of the way there to at least a field goal.
Yeah.
But that just didn't happen. So Vanderbilt walk away, comfortable winners, and just I'm guessing because they were on the road, no goalposts were harmed in the making of this upset.
Although, did they storm the field? Probably not, because it probably would have cost them all of their win bonus, right?
They're also not at home, so chances are traveling fans, there's going to be like 10 of them storming the field, they would get stopped.
How far
Um,
is Vandy from South? It's not that far, though, is it? Don't know. Anyway, but true. Yeah,
so yeah,
unlikely to. That's the thing. It's unlikely to have a mass traveling support.
yeah. So your boy posted a clever TikTok the other day because I'm trying to do more in the TikTok game.
Mm.
To which I said the words, a Georgia Tech walk-off field goal to
Mm.
win against
Against
a
the ranked opposition
highly
team.
ranked opposition team. I feel like I've heard that one before.
I
In
feel like
fact,
I've
I've
seen that
seen that
before.
one before.
In fact, I could
Kieran,
have sent you a video of it because I still have it from last season.
well, if you watch the TikTok on Lions Guy Fletch, you will see that I feel like I've seen that before. Oh wait, I
Hmm.
have. And then the video of um
From behind, whereas I've got it from the side. So yeah.
yeah. You can just about see the ball go past. Um, but yeah, that's what it took this weekend, and down went Clemson. Georgia Tech beat Clemson 24-21 in an upset that someone saw coming. I believe we're in a Pick'ems league.
Hmm.
Someone picked Georgia Tech to beat Clemson in that Pick'ems.
I
Oh,
wonder
it
who
was
that
me.
was. I think we were quite clear on the fact that and I think Nick and I on the pod last week we said if Jordan no, this wasn't in the Pickens, I don't think. Was it? Which
I don't
game were
think
we
so.
talking about then? I can't remember. I know Nick and I were both quite high on the fact that Georgia Tech were going to rinse we're going
Yeah,
to beat Clemson.
we
So
were
yeah.
all quite well. We were all quite confident that this game was going to. We've all been quite high on Georgia Tech since last year, and quite
Mm-hmm.
high on Haynes King and quite high on what they're doing over there. Then,
But maybe higher than others.
well, yeah, we've been high on them since then. Going into this year, we were quite high on them because they've done some good things in the off season. Clemson were looking rocky. Georgia Tech were looking all right.
Yep.
I think between us, no one thought that this was going to be a route for Clemson and a get it right game for Clemson. We all knew this was going to be a test.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's an
So,
ACC conference game, so it was always going to be tight. And as we said about the ACC, usually what you end up is you have a couple of teams at the top, then you have 3 or 4 teams who are combative, competitive. Georgia Tech is part of that sort of second wave. But
yeah.
are they becoming more than that? Are Georgia Tech kind of becoming the second best team in Georgia
I
behind
mean,
Tulane?
well, funny,
Oh,
not meant to. I get it. I get it. The Kennesaw State hate is be realistic though. It's Kennesaw State. Yeah. So no, you're right. I mean, we said this in our ACC preview. You've got, like you said you've got the two, then you've got a few in behind,
and by the
and
way, we were all completely wrong.
then you've got the rest of the pack, and then you've got Syracuse. I'm
And
joking.
Stanford.
Then you Duke.
Although
It's
Stanford got
Duke.
a win.
They did. Um, but I was gonna say Wake Forest then, but because they're 1-2, but the one win was against Kennesaw State, so it doesn't help me prove my point.
Doesn't help you.
Um,
No, back away from that.
but again, Georgia Tech, this game was on. I had this game side by side with the Alabama Wisconsin game. The Alabama
Hmm.
Wisconsin game became quite boring quite quickly. The Alabama were a couple of scores ahead, and it was always like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, there was another game that had the majority of my attention, but once that game hit the fourth quarter, I was pretty much eyes on Clemson.
I mean, once that game hit halfway, it was done and dusted,
Yeah.
to be honest.
So that what an exciting game it was, and I do want to say like that you got to highlight Haynes King, by
Yep.
the way, who went 20 of 28 in the air for 211 yards, but
But also,
on the ground, 25 carries, 103 yards, and a touchdown. That
mhm.
is how a quarterback leads their team against the number
That's how a
12 ranked
quarterback.
opponent.
That is how the quarterback gets into the Heisman conversations. It's
Yeah.
way too early for that, but situations like that, results like that, performances like that, are how you end up getting mentioned in the right sort of circles. I always had him as a dark horse kind of contender because he is the beating soul of the Yellow Jackets.
Yeah.
And if he plays well and if he does that, then he's going to be in the mix. He's got the skill set. We saw that last year when he was, in Dublin. He's better now. He's a year on. He's a year older. A year more in the scheme, etc., etc. So, yeah, great result for Georgia Tech.
Massive.
Great result for the ACC because it keeps it all tighter. It's becoming apparent that our ACC um, preview podcast should not be listened to because nobody got the ACC right at all. I think the teams who are bad in the ACC are not the teams we expected to be bad, and the teams who are currently unbeaten and flying high were not the ones that we talked about. So, very strange results. It's a
Then,
shame Sam's not here actually, because I'd like to just touch on the Longhorns. Yes, they got a win, but I'd like to, and obviously Fletch, you're probably like me. You listen to the arbiter of college football. Um,
yeah,
our good friend of the show, Spencer McLaughlin, he talked about the Texas UTEP game.
yeah,
Yikes! I think it was his overarching how he felt about it.
clever.
Yikes!
That
Mm.
that was that was a clever play on words there, Gary. And by the looks of it, I don't think he meant it. Um, that it just naturally you're the overarching. Um,
Overarchingly, yeah, he
yeah,
said, "Yikes!" Yeah, UTEP. You only beat UTEP 27-10 at home. This was supposed to be the right rust knocked off. Everything should be good now. Let's go and put 60 on them because UTEP Conference USA, right? So
yeah,
not a team that you would expect to keep it within 17. I should imagine the line was something along the lines of minus 25 or minus something big.
yeah,
They did not look good. He does not look good. Arch does not look the be all end all savior of all college football that he was made out to be. And a fair play to Sam. Sam tried to kind of, you know, poo poo a lot of that sort of hype talk, saying, let's just let the kid play for the first year because he hasn't really played. But
yeah,
he kind of needs to get some work on that mechanism because
yeah,
he's been there. He's been there for a year. He should be better, and he's not. And that's either down to coaching or it's either down to him not putting the effort in. And I don't want to start to cast aspersions on the guy, but with that name and
Hmm.
with the hype and everything else, is he coasting on the name and not putting the work in, not putting the effort in?
yeah,
I don't know. It's very early days, but he needs to. That's the game that struck me as why is that only 27-10? Why isn't it 67-10?
yeah. And I think the thing for me, and I'm going to use this as an opportunity to we'll have our quick blowout game mentioned. Because I'm going to use this in comparison, and I don't. I
Mm-hmm.
kind of do want to have to make this comparison because I will enjoy making the comparison, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to do it too much in front of Sam's face. Um, but unfortunately, I haven't been able to properly listen to the neutral arbiter of all things college football for the last couple of weeks properly, just because of my usual listening scenario has changed slightly. Um, so it has not been as on the forefront. But
Mhm.
I was thinking the same thing. I went through and watched a lot of the highlights of this game because again, it's not one that I had on the TV. I knew Sam would be watching it because that's the only game Sam would have watched this weekend. And it was I was just watching thinking you don't look any better today than you did against Ohio State.
Yeah,
And that says a lot for two reasons. One, you are two games better off. You have two games more
experience,
starting
2 games more.
experience.
Yeah.
You have
Mhm.
there is so much more within you not there. Plus, you are against obviously a much, with all due respect to UTEP, a much worse defense.
Yeah,
And yet, the way you are performing, you are no better than you
laboring. It
were.
was a laboring performance. They got the job done, but it was not pretty. It was not well executed. It was not comfortable. And although it's a win and whatever else, and overarchingly you might be, I think they'll suffer in the rankings due to how just they just about got it. I mean, you talk about blowout games. Indiana State, right? This is a similar sort of level.
Yeah,
Indiana went out 73-0, absolutely rinsed their in-state rivals. And that's the kind of game that we thought Texas UTEP was going to be.
yeah.
Absolutely get right, smash up, pad your stats, make yourself sound great, make yourself look great, get Arch Manning all over the screens, get Arch Manning, everyone talking about Arch Manning, and they are, but not in the right way now. I mean, you could even say the Michigan State game, right? Interstate rivalry, a little bit of that, but you knew it was going to be a bit of a cakewalk. And it ended up being that. What did you end up getting? 63 on them or something?
Oh, it's Central Michigan, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Central Michigan, not Michigan
Yeah.
State. Yeah.
But obviously, this is the point, and as you mentioned before, Gary, so eloquently as you always do, the when looking at rankings, there are a couple of things you look at. You look at the record, but also good losses are better than bad wins, and all like losses against good opponents count better sometimes than wins against bad opponents. And how strange that is, obviously, that a loss can count better than a win, but it
Hmm.
does work that way sometimes in trying to judge at least who's still a better side. Um, and it is just the way it is. And there is a level of you get the job done, and there's a level of it's not just beating the opponent, it's how you look while beating the opponent.
Yeah.
How comfortable are
Style
you?
points, for want
How,
of a better description.
yeah. Are you putting belt to ass to an
Yeah.
opponent that you should be able to bend them down a little bit and put the belt on their ass a little bit? This, which is what Michigan did against Central Michigan. And I'm gonna put for 1 second, I'm gonna put Archman in and Bryce Underwood side by side. Now,
Oh,
I mean, Sam did kind of put them together a little bit. Arch Manning's been in college for 2 years, but it's his first year as a starter. Bryce Underwood is also in his
fresh out of
first
high
year as a
school.
starter, but he's also turned 18 a couple of weeks ago. So, um, both of them went into their third game as a starter. Um, Bryce Underwood goes, let me get the box. I can't remember the
16
numbers
for
now.
25, 235 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah. Wait, no, that's the wrong one. But also, oh, to be fair, would have been more than happy there. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go?
But he also carried 9 times for 114
Yeah,
yards and ran in 2 touchdowns.
that's the one.
So, basically
Um,
ran the show.
so Bryce Underwood comes out, first play of the game. They launched it about 40 yards upfield. It was this close to an interception. Should have been probably should have been an interception, but they literally came out and launched it as far up the field as they could. Tried to make a statement straight away. And then
Hmm.
after that, it was cool in the pocket, making good decisions, going through the reads. And again, these are things that against an opponent like Central Michigan, you can say on the first play of the game, let it rip, bro. Let
Yeah,
it rip. Have one of those goals
have
because we'll
one.
be
Have
fine.
at it. And if it
Um,
no harm, no foul, right? First play, just give it some. See what
yeah.
happens.
If it doesn't, if it's not what we wanted it to be, it's fine. If it's
No biggie.
intercepted,
It's only no
frustrating, but
biggie.
it's
It's only
okay.
Central Michigan, right? Come
Um,
on.
so, but I say you let him do that. You and it's like I say, you look at the quarterback and you say, right, okay, after two games, plus against an opponent where you're allowed to work through a lot of this, how are you working through those reads? How are you staying composed in the pocket? How are you judging the pressure around you? How are you
Hmm.
judging um the man
How are you
matchups you've
working with
got?
your how are you working
How
with your O line? How are you calling the protections? How are you
exactly?
doing all the stuff that you should be progressing by week three,
But
four, etc.
also, yeah, if you've got a matchup, a couple of matchups, you're in man coverage, and some of those matchups just work out to be tight the way the routes are being run. And you find the matchup that you like, you let the ball rip. Are you putting it in places that your receiver can get it, but are a bit further out of danger? Where are you placing the ball? What are you doing? How are you sensing that pressure? Are you breaking at the right time? How are you? And Bryce Underwood did all the things right. I'm trying not to be homery with it, but he did almost everything the right way. It
Hmm.
felt like they'd said to him also before the game, and Biff Poggi was took the reins, who by the way is just a wonderful humour. He's just a breath of fresh air, Biff Poggi. He's a lot of fun.
Hmm.
Um they'd said to him before the game, look, you are no longer we no longer see you as a true freshman. You've been on the road to Oklahoma. You've done your true freshman stuff.
Yeah, that's
You're
all. We
tested.
knocked the rust off. You tested. You tried tested. Now let's
Go out there, training wheels are off, go. Um, and like I said, he did everything that he needed to do the right way. Yes, it's against inferior, but because he is allowed to test it. And you should then be walking away 63-3, not 27-10.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. It's a bad result. It's a bad game. It's a bad look. It might turn around, but it might. I don't see it turning around very quickly. And as we talked about, Texas's schedule isn't that easy. So
nope.
they might flatter to
Um,
deceive for the rest of the season.
which so obviously I'll get on. We'll get on this on the kind of the second half onto a couple of the games for next week. But I'll just say like that,
Just
it
trying to
it
see any
fills me
other.
now with a lot of confidence.
Yeah, any other games that stand out to you?
So
Obviously, there was a ranked game in Miami. Well,
yes, well, I did want to mention that because the MacGuffin has changed hands again,
MacGuffin changes hands. Dun, 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 dun. It
and
stays in the
it's
state of Florida.
again still, um, and this time in a much more convincing fashion as
Mm.
Miami beat South Florida 49-12. The South Florida hype train's kind of over now. They've got the beating. Um,
They've still beaten two ranked teams. The
oh
hype
yeah,
train is going to roll for a while for South Florida, but they came up against a much better team.
formidable team.
And
So yeah,
Miami did what Miami and what Texas should have done. They put a team away that they should have done. Minimum fuss, minimum hassle, minimum scares. Got the job done, but got the job
yeah,
done in that professional, done, dusted. Didn't blow them out because they're a ranked team. You wouldn't expect them to come like roll in and get 60, 70 points on them, but they almost got 50, and they were just like, bam, never a contest, never really in it. We're just going to run through the motions. We're going to play some plays. We're going to do some stuff. We're going to make sure that all of our stuff is right. There was no silliness from Miami's point of view. They just kind of got the job done. Thank you very much. Move on.
yeah. Just one more game that I wanted to give a quick, well, two games I wanted to give a quick mention to. Very disappointed in the fact that LSU allowed that game to stay close for so long, and
Yeah,
it remained close until the end. They looked relatively. Neither team looked comfortable. There was a lot of handbags in this game getting thrown
lot
around.
of back and forth, lots of issues. Good,
Um,
two good. I mean, two good defenses. I suppose you could look at
yes,
it that way.
yes,
LSU defense, I think, is legit. I think it is. Florida's QB situation is horrible, but their defense kept them in the game because how can you only lose a game by 10 points when you're QB for those five interceptions?
Yeah,
five in
yeah,
one game. So, their defense at Florida is obviously keeping them in games. LSU's offense isn't really clicking. So, great win. Billy, get out. LSU roll on. Mm, again, would have expected them to win more
yeah,
comfortably. So, again, it's like, will it affect their rankings? Probably not, because it's a win, and Florida were thought to be reasonably okay at the beginning. And as we found out last week, the AP poll, it's all fucking darts thrown at the blind dartboard. Um,
yeah,
so it probably won't impact them too much. I don't know. It probably should, but it won't. But yeah, a game that I reckon should have been better all round was just bad for one side of the ball in Florida.
yeah. And I just want to give a shout out to Brian Kelly's post-match press conference because I watched one question
And
and
he
they
just
said
let rip, didn't he?
he was not happy. Which I will, by the way, there's a couple of things I mention on the previous game that we spoke about, but he was not happy. He was asked a question like about, I think it was about what they could have done better or something they didn't
Mm-hmm.
do very well, and he was like, "These guys have just won a football game. We are 3-0. Cut them some slack. Be better
Mm-hmm.
than that. Be a proper." Um, and yeah, he was not happy. LSU, like you said, the offense still needs a bit of work, but last year it was like the defense needs a lot of work. The defense wasn't that offense could have them come unstuck because another
Mm-hmm.
team there is going to be a team that's going to expose that defense. They've got okay, it's probably not going to be Southeastern Louisiana. I'm just going to throw that one out there. Um,
Probably okay. Probably going to be okay.
but an Ole Miss could, a Texas A&M could, Vanderbilt could, an Alabama
Texas A&M.
could.
Texas A&M will test the secondary because Texas A&M do like to air it a bit.
They do, but I would say they've also got an Alabama. They've also got a Vanderbilt who are I
Who
don't
knows
know.
with Andy? Well, who knows
Um,
what Andy you're going to turn up, right?
and who's gonna be trying to get a date with Diego Pavia's mum that weekend,
Me.
and you never know what's gonna happen. So they do need to get some things reassured. So just a quick
Mm.
mention, by the way, to another game was previously spoke about. What's about just Georgia Tech Clemson, by the way, because there was a game where goalposts went missing.
Yep.
That was one of my favorite videos because they had a load of engineering students trying to guide everyone at the stadium, which is just the best thing ever.
Best thing. Best thing.
Such a primal tribal thing to do, to just run onto a field and rip up pot, and then you've got engineers going, right, everybody
No,
just want
no, take it to the left a bit. No, no,
to
2 degrees to your right. Yep.
turned it into an art form which we just love. And then Clemson's Dabo Sweeney also went on one hell of a rant after the game. um After they've gone 1-2, he was asked a question and he was like, I think we're pretty, I don't know, is it good to go to the playoffs 7 out of the last 10 years, to go to 4 national championships, win 2 of them?
Uh, what have
Brilliant.
you done?
Just
Mhm.
a brilliant kick off
It
there
was
from
it was a
Dabo
bit
Sweeney.
Alan Partridgey, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But it was
Um
good. It was good. I also just the last thing, previous games, Penn State Villanova. Um,
yeah.
just absolutely blowing Villanova out the water, 52-0. Last play of the game when, and this may mean nothing to most of the fans in the UK because we don't get it, but the line for Penn State, I believe, was 45.5. So if they beat Villanova by more than 46 points or 46 points or 45 points, then everyone was going to win. And this was one of those, everybody, accumulators all up and down the country had Penn State winning by that line. They were going to basically, Villanova go out, last play of the game, scramble drill, madness, score a touchdown with time expiring to make it 52-6 and to ensure that Villanova do not cover the spread. Thousands upon thousands of people were not happy with the fact that, sorry, it was 46.5. Whatever it was,
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
6 points was enough to take it from Penn State covering the spread. Everybody's accumulator falls by the wayside because of one play. It's a brilliant little bit of story. Just wanted
Oh.
to say that.
last
You'd
two
have been
games,
gutted. I mean, you'd have been
yeah,
gutted if you'd called like Georgia Tech and you'd called
yeah,
the Georgia game and all of the upsets and everything else, and you're sitting there going, "Quid's in. I'm literally dollars in, and just wait for this game to finish rolling. I'm making thousands, and then that
yeah.
happens.
Um,
Gamble responsibly, people.
yes, gamble responsibly and
Using our partners over at
fantasy
Fantasy
game.
Game Day.
Um,
We really
so
should get better at that and just put a plug in there and
it's
have a pre-recorded thing. Just
yeah. Well, yeah, they're primarily hurdle the line sponsors, but if you like doing betting and fantasy football at the same time, then Hurdle the Line have our NFL podcast have a great partnership with Fantasy Game Day, the UK's first and only fantasy football, fantasy daily fantasy app made by UK fans for UK fans. Compete against plenty. I don't know, Gary, do you do much on
no,
there?
I don't do much
No.
because I have a tendency of addiction problems whereby I would end up doing too much on there. I wouldn't just flutter with it. I would end up doing
So.
silliness.
I did have a couple of. By the way, I did have a
You
couple of
did well.
flutters over the
You did have a
weekend,
couple of flutters, and they
and
came in successfully, I believe.
I came in with over £80 profit on the weekend. I'm very, very, very happy with
Wee, very
myself. So,
nice.
Mrs. Fletch was told about it, and then on Monday afternoon, when I took her out for dinner, I don't know how I got swindled into that one, but I think
Saw you coming. Well,
the
how you got talked into that one? You told her
pro
about the winnings.
profit, yeah,
That would be it.
that's my problem. I was too happy with it. Um,
Yeah.
But if you sign up to Fantasy Game Day and use the promo code HRDLE, hurdle without the U, then you can get a free plays up worth up to £7.50 once you deposit and play. 18 plus only, gamble responsibly. Just a last mention on two games, and I don't want to dwell on either of them, right? The Backyard Brawl, which is now my favorite name for a rivalry game. Pitt's Pitt at West Virginia. It was a very, 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 very defensive game for the first half,
Mhm.
and it blew up in the second half. West Virginia walk away as winners, 31-24. But so they win by one touchdown, and just a fantastic game overall. I had it
Didn't help
on.
my pickums. Didn't help my pickums that one
No, it
because
didn't.
I had Pitt to win that one, and I think a lot of people
Yeah,
did. I think I remember sending a message to one of the group chats saying, "Can somebody go and tell Pitt to wake up a bit?" Didn't work, obviously, because I did not see that one coming, and I don't see many people saw that one coming. What a backyard brawl. I mean, some great names coming out. We're learning. We're still learning.
yeah,
We're big fans of the sport, but we're still learning new nuances every
yeah.
time we pick them up.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is another year where, like you say, there are things that we learn every year because we can't take all of the information in 1 year or in 2 years, and there are, like because we've had to expand into so much more Group of Five stuff over the last couple of years. We're still getting so much in, just so many more different things, and we're not just watching. So yeah, that was a really fun game. West Virginia, after coming away from a massive upset from the Ohio Bobcats, ended up beating Pitt. And this is the only one I'm going to this. I'm just going to mention it. Kennesaw State got the first win of the season, and I just want to say how happy I am and how proud I am and how fucking hard they made it against Merrimack. How damn hard they made it against Merrimack. Why did they make it so hard to win against Merrimack? Um,
However, it is their first
they did
win.
get a win.
It is their
Um,
first win in FCS competition, I
and
believe, right? Because they got
obviously,
battered all last year.
no. They got the first win in the FBS when they beat Liberty because they were
Liberty, Liberty, Liberty,
Liberty, Liberty,
Liberty.
Liberty. Because Liberty were undefeated at that point in the season, like 7-0.
Mm,
Kennesaw State were winless, and it was just a massive upset. They gave everything, and then they got another win a bit further down the road in
mm.
the season. I want to say against UTEP, funnily enough. Might not have been, but much
Says it
earlier
all
in the
if it
season,
was. Says it
much,
all if it was, eh, Stan?
much earlier in the season, Kennesaw State get a go 1-2. Obviously, I didn't watch the game because it was not available in the United Kingdom, but I have heard. Actually, no. There's one other game that I want to mention. Um, for chaos purposes, halfway through. towards the very end of the first quarter, ESPN Plus stream just went down. Didn't come back again until halftime.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia, Tennessee's going on over there. The end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Apologies, we're having technical issues is going on over here. And luckily there were some games going on DAZN. The scorebug, I have heard, I've not been told, as I
Oh.
have not seen. The scorebug was wrong all game. Somehow they went from they went first and 10, went 5 yards, then they were first and 5. Um, or they get a fresh set of downs and still be on fourth down. It was just the scorebug just wasn't, and they'd
The
clearly
scoreboard
got
wasn't
an
keeping up with the
intern.
lines.
They've got an intern whose feet were up on the desk. He was having a smoke at the same time and looking at his phone, and then going, "Oh crap, let me press a button there." Um, I mean, even a lot of the stuff was coming from. I was literally just watching a play-by-play, um, and a legal way of listening to it on the radio, which was a lot of fun. Um, Again, so just really quick, I want to mention one game, by the way, from Saturday. Not Saturday. I did stay up and watch some very, very
Very, very late
nobody else
Friday
cares
game, was it?
games
Because
on Thursday night.
that's what we do for you out here. This is what we do. This is how we do it.
So we had Thursday night football. As all of my friends were preparing to watch Green Bay Packers at Washington Commanders, I was getting prepared to watch actual
Actual
Thursday
decent
night
football.
football. Wake Forest and NC State. This
Mm.
game was such chaos in the first quarter. It was one of the most chaotic first quarters of football I have ever come across. And it is a
14 points each after the first quarter. What happened?
Gary.
I
Oh
obviously didn't
Gary.
stay up for that one. Sorry.
Oh Gary. Um this is when I tell you like college football is my favorite sport. I love the NFL. The Manchester City are my first ever love in life. The Detroit Lions are my first football love. American football love. These things are close to my heart. But as a sport, for the chaos, for the tradition, for just the rich history of it, college football. But then college football for the chaos, Gary, for the chaos. Every weekend is an FA Cup weekend, right? Just chaos and things happening, and you've got so we start the game with a 98-yard kickoff return for a touchdown.
Wow.
That's how we start
That's
the game.
that's how you start, isn't it?
Then it was a bit of a very defensive affair. You thought Wake Forest were looking really, really, really good. Um, they then go 14 points up on the game. So I say by the end of the first quarter, it was 14-14. So we had a 98-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. We had a 14-point deficit overturned. We had a thick six, which is my favorite
Oh,
term in all of
everybody loves the
football.
thick six. Come on,
Um,
everybody loves a thick six.
so we had a thick six, which there was another one, by the way, in the USC game. I think it was
There was.
£360 thick six. Um, and to top it all off, it was looking very foggy, and I'm thinking this is the middle of September. Why does it look so foggy? It wasn't foggy, it was smoky. A food truck vendor outside the stadium had set on fire, and smoke filled the stadium. Apparently, one side of the stadium just smelled like brisket all game. The food truck was the food truck fire was put out. Everybody was safe. Nobody was hurt. I think there might be a business who needs to sort out a few extra dollars to sort some things out. Um,
Mhm.
but just that was the first quarter. It just chaos.
Just pure, unadulterated college football chaos.
And then
Welcome to the NCAA.
and then you've got, like I say, all my mates sat there going, "Oh, what about Commanders Packers?" I'm like, "What? This? It's so much better." Um, but that wraps up week 3. And as we always do, we go to like a week 3.5, the bit between week 3 and week 4. And to do so, we need to start with looking at the AP poll, the
I
slightly not as important poll. Um,
mean, it's as has been clearly demonstrated by pollsters in the AP poll. It's not that important. Nobody really reads it. We're only doing it until the committee come along.
yeah.
So we'll talk about it, but there's a much more important, much more relevant one that we'll talk about afterwards.
hmm Um, not well. There was a
Not
lot
that
going
I'm
on
not
this
that I've
week.
put you on the spot here, but I'm assuming you've got the graphics ready to go.
I do. Are they not showing up on your screen?
They might be. Hang on, got the other screen somewhere. Oh yeah, there they are. Look, sorry,
Yeah.
it's over there.
So there is your. If you're on visuals, if you're on YouTube, you will see the AP top 25 ahead of week 4. Just a couple of highlights that I think we need to mention in this week. Georgia Tech, Vanderbilt, and USC. They are replacing
Uh,
South Carolina,
yep.
Clemson, who have
Bye bye,
fallen out,
Clemson.
and USF. The biggest
Mhm.
risers of the week are Texas A&M, who have risen 6 spaces into 10th,
After a good win against a still ranked team somehow.
and Alabama, who have risen by 5 places.
Hmm.
The biggest faller of the week, and I think that these should be mentioned on their own, are Notre Dame, who have fallen
Should have fallen out. Should have
16
fallen out.
places.
They are 0-2. There
16.
are many more teams who have got better records of 3-0, 4-0, whatever else. Notre Dame should not be anywhere in this top 25. However, that is my opinion. And when we get to the UK one, we'll be able to discuss it further. But I don't think Notre Dame deserves anywhere on here. Not that I feel strongly about that, but
Yeah.
I feel quite strongly about that.
Well, look, USC there at 25 are 3-0.
Yeah.
Mizzou are 3-0. Yeah, 3-0.
Mm-hmm.
Notre Dame are 0-2. In between them.
The sandwich between the two. How make it make sense, people? And that's just a generalization to the AP poll in general, not to our listeners, because I can't imagine even you guys would be able to make it make sense for us.
So I have no idea um, what's going on with some of these rankings. I think
Yeah,
most of it.
as I say, last week, unfortunately, the AP poll has taken such a battering last week with Shay, whatever her name is, Haley, whatever her name, turning up saying I didn't even bother, putting Florida up 2 spaces after they lost and whatever else. It's become a joke now, a bit of a laughing stock. So the fact that you've got teams in there who haven't won a game, yet they're still somehow ranked 24th when there are plenty of teams out there who have played 3, 4 games, have won them all, have beaten better teams, etc., etc.
Yeah.
A lot of this is based around, oh, I know that name, I'll vote for them.
Yeah.
That's
Um,
how it seems anyway.
I think again, if you want to talk about the quality wins and quality losses and low quality wins and low quality losses, I'm still I'm annoyed at Texas being at number 8. I don't think
Yep.
they should be at number 8.
No,
Um,
I think the Fighting Illinois should be above them. I think Texas A&M should be above them.
yeah,
I definitely think Iowa State. What are they? Who have they upset? Because they should be in the top 10. And as I say, I think Tennessee is probably about right because they didn't drop too far
no,
because their game was super tight and therefore they didn't deserve to drop. And that's fine. But I don't think the Longhorns deserve to be there when
Tennessee
some of those other teams
Tennessee
do.
didn't drop at all.
Well, there you go.
They're in 15 from last week on the AP
Yeah,
poll. Now,
and Georgia stayed in fifth. So
Garrett, you mentioned how Texas A&M should be ahead of Texas, how Illinois should be ahead of Texas, how Iowa
mhm.
State should be ahead of Texas. Now, what if I told you that there was a real top 25 made by real college football fans, the type of people who love the sport so much they stay up till 4 or 5 in the morning watching Colorado play football?
Mhm. The people who know football, the people who care about the polls, the people who make the
No, but
effort, you
you
mean?
take it seriously. What if I
Hmm.
told you to? Would you expect all of those things you've said to be true in these polls?
Yes.
Let's have a look, shall we? Because the UK and Irish college football media have done one. And would you look at that?
And you
Texas
see,
A&M at 9,
mwah,
Iowa State at 10, Illinois at 11, Texas at 12. So just really, really, really quick. I'll do a quick little highlights of the UK and Irish college football media top 25 brought to you by the Touchdown NFL. Please make sure you go and show those guys some love. Check the article out.
go follow Cy, go follow
Follow
George, go and
Si.
follow the touchdown.
Um,
Great bunch
because
of blokes. And we're lucky enough to be kind of included in this
yes.
media poll somehow.
Um, and so the out this week we have some slight differences. For the first week ever, I think this is the exact same top 25. By the way, we have a team different.
Mm,
South Carolina, Notre Dame, Clemson, and USF are out. So even
no,
Notre Dame haven't survived this one, Gary.
no, and
Not with us.
as well they shouldn't.
In we have Georgia Tech replacing them as they should be. Vanderbilt
14th
as
as
they
well, and
should be.
a proper spot for Georgia Tech.
Vanderbilt in as they should be.
Hmm.
USC in as they should be. And Tulane have made their way
The
in.
Tulane, the thundering herd of Tulane.
We
Wait, no,
have
the green wave of Tulane. Wait,
yeah,
which one is
Marshall.
it's the green wave?
Marshall is
Marshall's
Thundering
son. I
Herd.
was getting. Why do I get those two confused?
I have no idea. The risers this week, and bear in mind, obviously, like risers are people who were in last week and still in this week. Like
Hmm.
these don't account for people who were either not in, teams that are either not in this week or not in last week. Um, you rise Texas A&M, who have jumped up by 10 from 19th
Hmm.
last week, and Bama, who've jumped up by 5 places. The biggest fallers of the week would have been Notre Dame, but because they're out, they're just out.
They don't count no
The
more
biggest fallers of the week that are still of the ones remaining are Texas, who fell 5 places.
as they should have done, as we talked about. They did not look good, even though they got the win. I mean, I'm going to sit here and crow about the Florida State Seminoles still being in seventh. It's a bit of a weird one because we didn't play. Our win against Alabama is still counting quite highly for us. So the fact we're seventh, I don't know. Are we too high compared to the? I think, and this is, I'm going to take the Garnet sort of sunglasses off. I think Oklahoma, Texas A&M, and Iowa State should be above us. If we're going to be anywhere, we should be where Illinois are, and everybody else should jump up.
Yeah.
Just because we haven't played, and those guys are now 3-0, 4-0, probably deserve it a little bit more. But we should be ahead of Texas.
Yes. Well, you have gone up 1 space from last week. You were in 8th on the week
Yeah,
3 poll.
which is
Um,
weird. You don't play. You should stay, as Nick said last week. You shouldn't go down. You shouldn't certainly go up. You should stay. You might go down because, as I say, those other 4 teams slightly behind us on this poll probably deserve to be 1 spot higher.
yeah. Um,
But I'm taking it. And obviously, come when we roll around this week and absolutely trounce whoever it is we've got this week. I think it's another cakewalk one for us to get ready for a stronger game afterwards. Yeah, then we'll see where we are.
One quick mention as well. I do need to say it myself. Michigan have jumped up 2 places in both polls, both the AP and the UK and Irish one, which I think is the right way to do it. You don't go ahead and bump them up by 15 places because they beat Central Michigan, even 63-3.
No,
But you do what you're supposed to against it. The difference, again, this is what I'm saying, the difference between what Michigan have done and Texas have done. Michigan
yep,
did what they were supposed to do, and you get rewarded for doing what you were supposed to do, even if it's only slightly. Texas did one thing they were supposed to do, and that was win the game. The rest of the things, they didn't do what they were supposed to do. Um,
and the correct poll, the poll of people who watch games and the poll of people who know, reflected that by
yes.
dropping them 5 places, which is where they should be.
Um, and
Well, I
lastly,
don't know. Should they be lower? But we'll see next week.
we'll see. So the only thing now is now to move from week 3.
Mm,
And as we look towards the 3.5, we're now going to move on to week four.
mm.
And as we do now with week four projections, and when we start talking about week four, we talk about the games that are available for free
For
on
free
the
on
zone.
your television on the zone in the UK.
Oh,
And they are still currently showing as no padlocks, right?
they are still currently showing us no padlocks, and for some weird reason, though, they only started showing because, as everybody knows, we record in the evening on a Wednesday this podcast. Where so normally the games so far have come out and been released on the zone the day before the weekend games. So in week three, it should have been on the Friday that would have found the week.
Hmm.
They didn't come up until last night. That's last Tuesday morning, and they were starting to show a bit weird because it only showed me up until a particular game and wouldn't show me the games afterwards until a few minutes later. So your schedule for the week is tonight, the night of release. Thursday night, we have Rice at Charlotte at 12:30 at night. Then on Friday night, we have Tulsa at Oklahoma State,
The real OSU.
the real OSU. Then on Saturday, we have an action-packed day because instead of nine, we now have 10 games this week. At 2 p.m., though, that starts with college game day. Then at 5 p.m., we have Syracuse at Clemson. That's a whole lot of orange.
It's a whole lot of orange going to be going on there.
And
And two teams who, oh, not good, not looking good. So,
Clemson
oh,
desperately need the win. Syracuse will be looking at a Clemson and thinking you're open for the taking right now a little
yep.
bit. And if you're not quite sick of orange, you don't want a lot more orange, but you want a little bit of orange. At 5:45,
I think it's isn't Tennessee more rust than orange. Anyway, no, I'm
it's
thinking of
all
the other
orange
one.
to me. It's all
All
orange to
orange,
me.
all orange.
Um,
Yeah,
UAB, that is the University of Alabama in Birmingham, will be taking on Tennessee, number 15 ranked Tennessee. And then at 8:30 on a Saturday, we have Tulane, the Green Wave,
the green wave. This
at
should
Ole
be a
Miss.
ranked matchup, and it is a ranked matchup according to the teams and the people who watch college football.
And Sam.
Sam.
The Also at 8:30, we have a ranked matchup, SEC style, with Auburn at Oklahoma. Now that I'm really looking
Round
forward to
game
watching
for
that game.
Oklahoma. Oh, that's going to be a good one. And that will be the one that I will be watching.
Yeah, that game will be on one of my screens as well, while I have other games on. And midnight, we have South Carolina at Missouri. If Lenora Sellers is back, that will be an exciting game. If not, congratulations, Missouri, on jumping up 4 or 5 places in
Mhm.
the polls. At midnight, we have, and I
Billy Napier's
can't,
last game.
well, we have Florida at Miami, the MacGuffin Bowl of the
The
week.
MacGuffin. The MacGuffin
But,
Bowl.
but, I do have to say that Florida can do the funniest thing this weekend by starting the season with the MacGuffin,
Losing it.
losing it to USF,
Beating
USF losing it,
Ben.
and then it coming back round, and then them taking it again. And
That's fine. They'll only hold on to it until the end of the season when we
which
beat them.
which is fine, and I would look
They won't because they'll lose next week
yeah.
anyway.
Um, I just
But
think
yeah,
it'd be the funniest thing that basically Florida just kind of pass it on, and then it comes back to the bit like pass the parcel.
just goes round the state for a little bit. It
Yeah,
went for a Florida sort of,
tour.
look around. A tour of Florida.
Um,
I hope not though, because as I say, I hope that is Billy's last game in
yes.
charge of the Gators. Not that I have any wish that the Gators get any better than they are. I just think they deserve
To be
something
fair,
better than Billy.
if you want an easy game at the end of the season, just hope Bill and Napier's still there. To be fair,
That's the other way of looking at it.
so at 1:45 in the morning, we have Southeastern Louisiana at Louisiana State, which is obviously just going to be the most exciting game of the week. Um, and
Yeah,
then
that
for
should
you,
be that game's got mercy rules written all over it.
yeah. And finally, for all you sickos out there, for the ones of you who do go out on a Saturday night, but you're traipsing in at 3 in the morning, you've got a kebab, you've had a few berries, and you just want to lie in bed and watch some incredible football. Well, we don't probably
Unfortunately,
don't have incredible football
unfortunately,
for you, but we do
unfortunately, you've
have
got.
Wyoming at Colorado instead. And if Colorado look any worse, I'd be looking at potentially
Deion Sanders on the
a
hot
Deion
seat
Sanders,
now.
yeah.
Or has he
What
got enough brownie points from last season? Hmm.
I don't know, after he retired
Hmm.
his son's
Hmm.
jersey number,
Hmm.
only
Hmm.
for him to go in the fifth round of the draft
And end up being third string, not
and end
really
up being,
being.
yeah,
He'll probably end up playing in Canada or somewhere if he
yeah,
ever plays. If he ever throws a football in anger ever again.
yeah. So again, I understand a Heisman winner, second overall pick. I do kind of get that,
Hmm.
but that was nothing other than
But
that's my
mhm.
son.
That's my son. Yeah, that's my boy. That's my boy. Yeah. So
So yeah,
other than that, nothing much to. Yeah, those are the games you've got a chance to watch in the UK. I'll obviously be scouring the sports stats to keep a track of just how
yes.
many points Florida State roll up against Kent State. I'm hoping it's along the lines of Indiana State, Indiana, and we, get right. Everyone pads their stats. Everyone feels great. If you have the opportunity, I would suggest you put Tommy Castellanos in any fan-tracked college football team you have because he's going to score a bucket
A
load.
lot of points,
Um,
which I did, by the
he-
way.
yeah,
I've got
good man. Who have you got this week? Are you on a bye after your
no, we have Nebraska. I was going to mention just it's a really, really fun game. Dylan
Of
Raiola,
course
Bryce
you do.
Underwood.
Yes.
It's Dylan Raiola, Bryce Underwood. It's Biff Pogge's second game,
Mhm.
second out of two games against what's his bloody name? Matt Rule.
Mhm.
Um, this is, and I genuinely, again, not as a whole, I think this is a really, really interesting game. One that's going to be close, one
Yeah.
that's going to be very interesting. Dylan Raiola looks good this year. I really, really enjoy watching Dylan Raiola. He is so clever with the football. He's smart with doing his checkdowns. He's safe with the ball. He's
He's oddly enough shown
oh
progression from last year,
good.
right?
So a lot of progression, and
Mm,
I
It's gonna be
really,
yeah.
really like him.
Hmm.
Some would say I might see a little bit of Patrick Mahomes at now.
Lots of people say they see a bit of Patrick Mahomes in him, baby mini Patrick or whatever he's been
Yeah,
called, and
it's
you can see why when you see pictures of them um, side by side and his
videos of
style and
them side
whatever
by
else.
side doing the yeah. Anyway,
You
um,
you never see them in the same place at the same time. That's just want to clarify that.
actually, that's not true. That was
So
true up until they played that game at Arrowhead this year, and
yes,
Patrick Mahomes went to the
Patrick
game,
Mahomes looked yeah.
bloody
It's
ruined
like
it.
ruined the storyline. Somebody should have
Um,
told you to stay away.
so this is a really going to be a really, really, really interesting game. I do think
Hmm.
Michigan matches up well against that defense. Just the things that they do. Um, I would expect Michigan to win it, but by a score max. It'll be a close one. I just like the way that our defense matches up against that offense. I like the way our offense matches up against that defense.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a fun one.
I think
Um,
so. I think it's going to be a good one. I think your run offense against that, Nebraska's not seen an offense that runs the ball as well as Michigan's.
no,
But then again, Bryce Underwood hasn't seen a defense as good as Nebraska's one. So it's
Oklahoma.
yeah,
That's
maybe.
that's one of the best defenses in the country, to be fair.
Yeah.
Um,
So I do I think this has got a great game written all over it, this one, and
it
it will
does.
definitely be one that will be kept track of. Definitely, I think Nick's Notre Dame should be on a get right against the Boilermakers, but
Yes.
who knows? Who knows?
Um,
And then Sam, I think, will be watching Texas
well, obviously, it's
hose
not.
Sam Houston. Should right? Should 0-3 Sam Houston? They should be there for the taking, but so are UTEP. So
What's
don't
the
know.
percentage? Because it doesn't give me the spread on ESPN, but it gives me the percentage. Uh, Texas are 98.9%
That's how many people are picking
likely to win.
Texas.
98.9% likely to win in ESPN's predictor. We have a couple of ranked matchups this week, entirely
Hmm.
ranked matchups in Texas Tech versus Utah, and Texas Tech are a fun one.
Yeah,
They are so fun to watch at the moment, and Utah, God,
it's
they're
good.
tough.
They are tough. That is should be. Um, Also, just that's the game. Why aren't college game day going there? That's where they should go. That's the
Where
game
are
of
they
the
going this weekend?
week. Miami, of course.
Yeah,
But they should be going
that's
to they should be going to Utah. They should be giving Utah the love rather than going down to Hard Rock and having a nice day out in the sun because that's not even going to be a game. This one's going to be a great game.
yeah.
And then
Um,
what's the other? Then Auburn, Oklahoma is the other one, isn't it? That should be again another cracker
Auburn, Oklahoma,
available on the
brilliant.
zone.
Indiana, Illinois as well, another ranked
Mm.
matchup this week. That's a fun
Mm.
one. Um,
That is a fun one because those two teams are not best of friends.
nope. And
So yeah,
both teams are considered to be slightly overachieving, possibly. Kurt Signetti's Indiana probably slightly less, but
hmm
both teams are considered to. Well, last year they were considered to have overachieved. This year they're considered to be right. Prove that you belong here, teams.
yeah.
And both teams have shown so far.
Both
Look, we're
teams
going
have
to
gone
belong here.
like, "Hey, we belong here."
And this
Yep.
is a case of one of you needs to belong here more than the other.
hmm
Um,
This has college football playoff connotations, I believe. This game, I mean,
yeah,
the knock on you win this game, it stands you in better stead because both those teams are probably going to lose a couple of games down the road, and having this win means they're more likely if they go 10-2 and they have beaten a ranked Indiana, for example, with looking at Illinois, if they go all the way through and they go 10-2, they've beaten Indiana in week 4, that might be enough for them to get in versus the other team who unfortunately don't. So it's got, even though it's only week 4, it's got one of those, it's got a lot riding on this one.
yeah. Um,
And then
so
of course, our friends are our friends all the way out there, 5 a.m. Sunday morning or whatever the time is going to end up being. The Rainbow Warriors host Fresno
Hawaii,
State.
yes. I'm sorry, Jeff, but my
That might just be
dogs,
a
they're my
bit
dogs.
too late.
Yeah. There's that, and also we that's in our pickums this week, and I'm
It is.
sadly had to. I've got to ride with my boys. My boys
You
over
got
at
you got to
Kennesaw.
ride with your dogs. You got to ride with your dogs.
Um,
I'm all in on the rainbows.
but no, obviously, always want success with Jeff. I always want success with Hawaii because they're just a wonderful program. But
Yep.
like I said, these are my dogs. So,
Yep.
um, we've got Kennesaw State, the best team in Georgia. These are the best team named Bulldogs. It's just one of those things. Georgia just keep losing.
Yep.
You can beat Tennessee all you want. You just keep losing everything else.
Yeah. Everything
Um,
else just goes by the wayside.
one game I think's got. I actually, to be fair, I don't think it's going to end up being that interesting. You got a 3-0 Michigan State at 3-0 USC, 4 a.m. over here, and I was thinking, well, Michigan State look good. Aiden Childs looks good. Adrian Childs, he's the former
He's the
Match of the Day presenter,
former
wasn't
match of the day two presenter.
he?
He never looked good.
But they look good. They're doing some good things. Aiden Childs looks good. USC are rightly ranked. They're playing some really, really, really good football at the moment, and USC could be looking to charge it. I was gonna say this would be a really good game, but I want to reserve judgment, and it sounds really daft to say I'm going to reserve judgment until like the end of the first quarter or half time, purely on the basis of I don't know how Michigan State are going to travel. If
Yeah.
Michigan State are going to travel well, because that's like 2 times, that's 3 hours you've got to travel. In time zones, that's you're playing at 4 a.m., which means like it's 11 a.m. East, 11 p.m. sorry, Eastern, because it's 8 p.m. Pacific.
hmm
That's you're playing at 11 o'clock at night. So
That's a
your
long old.
body will be used to it being 11 o'clock at night. You've got so much to get used to. traveling over to the West Coast, that's going to be difficult. But one fun fact is not only are USC closing off the weekend this Saturday at 4 a.m. over this time, they also just happen to have been given the opening shift for next weekend at Illinois. So they
Oi.
are on Fox's big noon kickoff, 5 p.m. over here. It's 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific time. So they play at 8 p.m. Pacific time this weekend
And
coming up. Then the
oh,
weekend after, they're playing at 9 a.m. Pacific time. That's
that's also a bit of
it's
a
like
shift, isn't it?
it's almost 12 hour,
It's
like
half of this, like your whole
half a
sleep
day.
pattern has to shift, doesn't it, completely?
So
Oi.
again, this is where like one. West Coast teams joining the Big Ten is a stupid idea, but also West
Good
Coast teams
idea.
joining, I don't know. You know when your school's based like right next to the Pacific Ocean and you join the Atlantic Coast
Atlantic,
Conference. Um
Atlantic Coastal Conference. Yeah. I mean,
and
it's not their fault their conference disintegrated around them, though, was it?
but they could have joined a Big 12, they could have like one that would
Could have
have
joined
had
a
a
map.
much better. They
Could have joined the
could
Mountain
have,
West.
yeah, they could have also, I don't know, put up more of a fight,
Stayed in the
supported
pack,
the
kept the
conference
pack,
rather than looking for the quickest way out.
and get the
Um
money from the big. Anyway,
Anyway,
we
so
talked about
but
that.
like I said, just that's the way college football works nowadays, though. But for me, USC though, I'd like to see how they handle that because if they can go to Illinois next week with that 12 hour, essentially a 12 hour day turnaround in a week, go travel to the Midwest, get a win,
Hmm.
or even just put up a solid performance against a very good Illinois team, that shows you that USC are a real contender. If not, then you've just got to say like this is going to be a while until the contenders in the Big Ten because they need to get used to this. That's what they chose. I'm trying to look for. I get again. There's only so many games I can look at and scan through when there are a billion games happening at the weekend.
Yeah,
There's a local derby, by the way, of Oregon State, the Ducks and the Beavers.
the Ducks and the
Got a
Beavers are
name.
Ducks and the Beavers. There's got to be a name of that. It's got to be
It
called
is, and it's a weird
the
name.
Eugene Bowl or something. The
It's like
Nike Bowl, isn't it? Nike
It's
Shoe
like the
Bowl
platypus rivalry or something.
or something.
The platypus game.
Because it's the duck and a beaver, and you combine the
Um,
two and you get a platypus. And see where you're going with
okay,
that.
so the trophy is called the Platypus Trophy. That's what it is. Um, the Oregon State football rivalry, also referred by some as the Civil War, is an American college football rivalry game played annually in the state of Oregon between the Ducks and the University of Oregon in Eugene and the Beavers of the Oregon State University in Corvallis. Though not officially recognised by the universities, the Platypus Trophy is awarded annually to the winning team's alumni association.
Mhm.
Um, so Civil War is the name that we're rolling with the Platypus Trophy. Um,
Should be a good
yeah,
one. Yeah.
the first reference to the Civil War name was in 1929 and came into common use in 1937. Prior to that, it was called the Oregon Classic or the State Championship Game, with athletes, alumni, and boosters questioning the name usage of the Civil. Yeah, I'm not getting
Yeah.
any further on that sentence there. So that's a fun one. We'll have a really quick, slow. Well, I say quick, slow. North Texas Army.
Slow, quick, quick, slow. Oh, is it Army Navy soon? No, it's not yet.
No,
That's not
that's
close
like
yet.
that's after the season's finished. That's like
Oh yeah, it's that
after championship games.
oddity past championship. Yeah, it's been given a special designation, I believe, though that game. Saw
Yes.
something about
Um,
that. It's been
it's in
given
Ball State
honoured.
Yukon, if that interests anyone. Uh,
Not really. Not really.
NC
Wait,
State
I
Duke.
will keep my eye on Arkansas at Memphis because I think I called Memphis to win their conference, and I
He
want to see
did.
how they got on.
Next week, by the way, I do want us to. I want to. We'll provide an up 4 games in. We'll provide an update on our um Arkansas State, Kennesaw State. Obviously, I'll be keeping an
Mhm.
eye on that one.
What a state that game's going to be.
Marshall, Middle Tennessee.
Mhm.
Um, Boise State Air Force. Now, Boise State need a big,
Mhm.
again, they need to be making statements. Washington, Washington State. So it's
It's the return of the Pac-12, isn't it? The big boys of the Pac-12 coming back to beat up their interstate rivals. Stanford, Virginia could be interesting.
yeah. Um
And then obviously you got to be looking at, UCLA are not playing now, are they? And Virginia, I don't think I think
no.
UCLA and Virginia Tech both have um bye weeks, which is why they've booted off their coaches
Oh,
this week.
that is adorable.
Is it?
It doesn't look like there's a
I
proper
know.
name for the game,
Virginia Tech are
but
playing.
no, sorry, but Washington Huskies versus Washington Cougars has the Apple Cup trophy, which is adorable.
True.
Um, do you
Yeah.
know what? I'm not gonna get bogged
You've
down
gone
in
down a
all of this
rabbit hole
stuff.
there, haven't you? You've
Um,
totally gone down a rabbit hole.
because this is something again, I want to speak to Sam about this. I want to talk to all you guys about this. This is something I want to do in the off season. Um, I've got very specific plans for things like this. Um, because we can't do series on we can't restructure college football every year.
No,
As fun as that would be. Again, just really quick, just gonna one last little scan through some of the games. No, nothing else particularly standing out off the
nothing
top of
else.
my head. But again, I am flicking through really, really quick.
There's a lot of
Um,
games again. Every
a
weekend
lot, a
there's a
lot, a lot.
lot of games for you guys to watch. But yeah,
And
the best ones, looking at those design ones, I'm reckoning it's the Auburn Oklahoma game.
yeah, I was
That's going to
asked
be fun.
to last weekend because again I have screen one, screen two, screen three, and each one can have multiple. Now I have my daughter this weekend, which
Hmm.
normally means I have a slightly separate watching scenario. However, I have a slight, but that just means I'm down to two screens instead of three, unless I can get a.
Get her
I'm
involved and
trying to,
engaged in watching.
I'm trying to. I need to sort myself out a brand new, a new tablet because the one I've currently got is terrible.
Mm.
um, and isn't particularly well equipped for watching anything on it, really. Um, so
Uh,
once I get that sorted, I
Recommendations are
can,
welcome on the YouTube channel, please.
yeah. Well, I know which iPad I want. It's just getting things together for it.
Hmm.
Anyway, so the what I will do is I will have two screens going, and again on Saturday morning I will post my game watching schedule on Twitter because people like to know what I'm watching and what I'm trying to pay attention to. A couple of people asked me on TikTok last week, like, which game should I be paying attention to? Rightly called it. So Georgia Tech Clemson should be the one you're watching out of Alabama and Wisconsin.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
So yeah, I'll be putting that out, tell you what I'm watching, and obviously you can join us on Discord as well if you want to join us on that front and talk about college football with us. Obviously, we'll post on social media, but it won't be as um
Won't be as
conversational.
focused. It won't be
Um,
as conversational. Yes.
and then just to wrap it up, we have Paul from Good Teams and Great Teams Cover has sent us his picks for the week. We've got an over and an under, and it looks like that's about it for this week. The over for the week, SMU at TCU over 64.5. Four of the last five meetings have gone over. When these two play, it's usually a crazy shootout. In eight of the last 10 meetings, at least one team has got to 40 points. No reason to expect anything else here. Under Syracuse at Clemson, that's 55.5.
Yeah.
Even as 17 point,
Smashing the under. 55.5. Oh,
even as 17.5 point underdogs, I think Syracuse can keep this a close one against Clemson. Clemson's offense is just struggling. Klubnik is not playing like one of the top QBs in the nation, and the defense has been a disappointment. They'll kick into gear at some point, but I just don't think it's this week. I'll take the under here.
yeah. Smash the under on Syracuse, Clemson. Blimey. The only over you're going to get there is overstimulation of the eyes with the amount of orange and purple you're going to
Yeah.
see on that screen. Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. Totally agree with the under on that one.
Yeah. And with that in mind, again, check all the links in the description. Go and check us out on social media. Follow us all, and we will see you next week to review. Well, for week 4.5
4.5 already. We're already at week 4.5. Where's the
next week.
season going?
See you later.